We talked about Western Skyrim being folded in as well. Chronologically, that's much later than Somerset, but it makes sense because we're going to be releasing something within the Skyrim areas, and we want to allow as many players as possible to participate. It's really starting to look like we're going to be going to Winterhold after all. Hey everyone, it's Spopes. Combined with Susan Kath's off the cuff comment during the reveal stream, this new quote in an interview from Rock Paper Shotgun of Nick Giacomini is providing me with everything I need to hear to surmise that the area of Winterhold is soon coming to the Elder Scrolls Online. I'm going to read this interview and get into my reasoning for this analysis, but before we dive in, please make sure you've subscribed to the channel. Please consider joining the Spopes Army as a member, and don't forget to like the video, hype it, and share it with your friends. I honestly thought we were done with the media blitz for the time being, but the leads at ZOS have come out with another interview conducted by Julian Benson at Rock Paper Shotgun, this time discussing the future of new zones in the game. The title of the article is Elder Scrolls Online will get new zones, but they'll be a different flavor from what came before. Even though parts of it are admittedly kind of cringe, I'm going to read through the whole article. Much in the same way that I started this year by telling my loved ones I would cut down my portion sizes in 2026 to attend to my aging body, ZeniMax Online Studios began the year by saying they'd be releasing smaller updates for the Elder Scrolls Online to refresh the MMO's creakier content. Both Elder Scrolls Online, and I shall end 2026 leaner and able to climb stairs without our knees popping. But in announcing its move from expansion-sized chapters released every 12 to 18 months to smaller season updates released every 3 months, it wasn't clear what this meant for new zones. Would the world of Tamriel stay locked at its current size, with additional areas being too large a thing to add in a season update? I'm sorry to jump in so quickly, but clearly not. They said this in the reveal stream, that they'd still be coming out with new zones. Why anyone would think that there were never any new zones coming to ESO is beyond me, along with just the general perception that the game is declining or they don't have as many resources. I really think it's the opposites. Check out some of my recent content to figure out why, the whole Blackbird drama, why I think the future of ESO is bright. But yes, of course, there are going to be new zones coming to Tamriel, to ESO. Let's continue the article. Many players have expressed concern we're not doing zones anymore. Game Director Nick Giacomini tells me in a follow-up interview. That's not true. We are. We are doing zones, and we're going to talk more about that very soon. So, as I suspected, the 45-minute reveal stream they've already done is not everything they're going to reveal for the future of ESO this year. I honestly think there's a lot more to come. They just wanted to cover the basics of what they're doing in the near future during that stream. And here's a Britishism I wasn't actually aware of before now. While Giacomini won't be drawn on exactly where may be added to Tamriel next, he said, I think players will be happy when they see what's coming in the next 12-ish months. So again, as I said in my most recent video, I don't know if Winterhold is going to come at the end of this year or the beginning of 2027, but it's in the works. It's coming soon. And honestly, they need to work on the game in other ways before they add new zones. While I'd love to see it on the 2026 side of this upcoming winter, it might honestly make more sense to push it off until 2027. Though he does say players should expect changes on what to expect from a new zone. Quote, with zones like everything, we're asking ourselves instead of just, here's a zone, exactly the way you've experienced zones before, we're taking a look at it at a fundamental level. What can we change here to make this more interesting, exciting, and in line with what players want, so it'll be a different flavor? Explaining the miscommunication, which I would honestly call a misunderstanding, but I do appreciate them taking the blame here, executive producer Susan Kath says, we had 45 minutes to deliver a huge amount of information, much of which is difficult to convey when we can't actually show it yet. One area players are wanting more information is around Tamriel Tomes, the MMO's new Battle Pass system. It would be a heck of a lot easier if I could just be like, here, I'm in the game, let me show you exactly what I mean by this, continues Kath. They will be adding clarifying details in live streams, AMAs, and explanatory posts in the coming months. While Giacomini won't talk about what or how new zones will be added to the Elder Scrolls Online, he will say how the team planned to enrich the world of Tamriel. In the same stream when they announced the move to seasons, Giacomini and Kath explained that Orsinium, Thieves Guild, Dark Brotherhood, and the Imperial City will be folded into the base game. Previously, these locations and their associated quests were all held back as premium content. Now, in this coming section, I feel like both Nick Giacomini didn't really explain himself well, and the author of this article did not convey it very well. But let's just read what they have to say, and then I'll give you my interpretation. This broadening of the base game, Giacomini argues, will lead to more opportunities for all players. It gives us more flexibility. When we wanted to make something available for all players in the past, that meant we had to design within these base game zones. And while these zones are big, you're doing yet another series of quests in Auradon, or what have you. This enables the design team to explore more. Now a quest can be made available to all players that takes them from Auradon to the Imperial City with a stop off in Orsinium without the designers needing to worry about what expansions a player has bought. Giacomini says before, the team would ask themselves, if we do this, that means only X% of players are going to be able to participate. Again, Giacomini falls short of saying what these new quests will be, but he points to what was said in the announcement stream. We talked about Western Skyrim being folded in as well. Chronologically, that's much later than Somerset, meaning when the chapters came out. And no, he did not spell Somerset correctly here, but I digress. But it makes sense because we're going to be releasing something within the Skyrim areas, and we want to allow as many players as possible to participate. We're going to be releasing something within the Skyrim areas. All right. This broader canvas upon which to draw new quest lines sounds promising, bringing new life to old areas. We still have to wait and see how well ZeniMax Online Studios delivers on its promises for these smaller updates. Giacomini and Kath say that the team's capacity to deliver wasn't impacted by last year's layoffs. The truth of that will be proved in March with the launch of Season 0. All right, there's the article, and now here's my reasoning as to why I think Winterhold will soon be included as a zone, an event zone, or something like that. First of all, at some point in the 2026 content reveal stream, Susan Kath did just offhandedly mention, why don't we explore what's going on in Winterhold, or something to that effect, when she was talking about all of the new things the team can now do due to this restructuring. She says, what's going on in Winterhold? Meaning that Winterhold, this iconic area from the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, is an area that they are planning to incorporate into the game in some way in the future. Now, combine that with the fact that, as Nick mentioned in this article, Greymoor is being added to the base game this winter. It seems we're being set up for a Skyrim-themed season. I mean, especially when you consider that during that same period, we're getting large-scale world events in Skyrim. So they're doing something in Skyrim. It could just be, I'm just going to play the devil's advocate here for a second. It could just be taking the existing areas within Skyrim, so Western Skyrim, I guess the Reach, East March, and the Rift, and doing some kind of event between them. But I think it's safe to assume that the hub for this event, which will probably cross an entire season, will be Winterhold. This will be the area where players port into to get their quests. There will be some kind of special event going on here. This makes sense because it's basically just a city. They might do the surrounding areas as well. But this is something bite-sized they can really invest a lot of effort and production value into. This is a place that Elder Scrolls fans already love and would just be dying to see in the game. So it'd be a big PR win, and they could use Winterhold as a way to tie in all this crazy stuff that's going to be going on throughout the region of Skyrim. Geographically, Winterhold makes sense as a hub. It's up here at the far north end of Skyrim, in an area we have not yet visited in ESO. They could just add a relatively small zone in here that would nonetheless tie in East March, the Rift, and Western Skyrim. We might potentially get the entire basic small region of Winterhold in here too. That would make a lot of sense the more I think about it, because then both sides of Skyrim would be united. You'd be able to just walk or ride your horse all the way from Western Skyrim to East March and then onto the Rift. Actually, I really think that's what they're going to be doing. Yeah, the more I look at this, the more that makes sense. So there's going to be this big event in Skyrim. We know that Greymoor is being added to the game for free. There's going to be new public events out there, big group events. We don't really know what they are yet. And then Nick is talking here about wanting as many players to be able to participate as possible. That's why they're throwing Greymoor in for free. It would really make sense to me then If Winterhold was going to be the bridge uniting all of the existing Skyrim zones, a new zone, probably not just a city, but an entirely new zone, spanning this gap between Western Skyrim and Eastmarch. So you might say, but Spopes, if they really are coming out with a whole new zone and it's Winterhold later this year, why wouldn't they say that in the reveal stream? Well, as they also talked about in the reveal stream, they are moving to seasons at least partially so that they aren't locked in to this particular cadence of content that they then have to stick with for 18 months. Previously, we'd get reveals for the new chapter, and there wouldn't really be anything to add on to that. But during the reveal stream, during the communication that came after it, they said we actually do have a lot more to reveal. They even said there's going to be more reveal streams just this year for the new content. So, given the fact that the release of this new zone of Winterhold is still basically a year away, it would make sense, especially given their new ethos as a studio, not to tease it too early. And that would have been a huge amount to tease in that short 45-minute format. They were already talking about the QOL updates. They were talking about Tamriel tomes. They were talking about the player experience improvements. They would have had to add at least another 10 to 15 minutes to talk about Winterhold and the new Skyrim events. So time constraints and the fact this is still basically a year out is, I think, why they didn't talk about it yet. And they could also, from a more jaded perspective, be trying to lengthen the hype as much as they can, to milk it, to come out with continuous reveals so the hype just keeps escalating over time. But yeah, Susan Kath already mentioned Winterhold, and now Nick is saying there's going to be this pan-Skyrim event. And I didn't come into the video thinking this, but just looking at the ESO map, it would just make a whole lot of sense if they were going to fill in this area right here. Because right now, the two sides of Skyrim are divided. You can't actually travel from the Rift to Eastmarch and then Western Skyrim. But if they are doing this pan-Skyrim event, they will need to connect these. Or maybe not need to, but that will make the whole event much more cohesive. And they might just do the coastline here. It might be relatively small, because Winterhold is basically right here, I think. They could just do the coastline, the areas would be connected, and we do know that this is all coming this winter. Starting in November or December of 2026, we're getting these large-scale world events in Skyrim. We're getting Greymoor being added to the base game. So it's possible they'll push this back till 2027. But I really think that we will be exploring the iconic Elder Scrolls V area of Winterhold by the end of 2026. I think it will be the integral hub and centerpiece of this Skyrim-related event. And I think they just didn't talk about it in the earlier reveal stream because they didn't want to give away their position too quickly. They didn't want to show all their cards at once, which I respect and I think makes a whole lot of sense. If this is true, my hype for this year in ESO is raised up exponentially. I was never that big of a Skyrim player, but I do know that a lot of people who play ESO are. They're big time Skyrim fans. So this will revitalize the game. It'll give a reason for people to come back to the game. And also, Winterhold being added this year fully disproves the narrative that ESO is on a downward trajectory, that it's dying, that they don't have the capacity to make new zones anymore. I've already fully thrashed this point to oblivion in my last couple videos, but the honest facts of the matter are that it really appears, given all the evidence, that the team at ZOS actually has a bunch more resources now to create better and better content. They have more money, they have more people, they have better leadership, their organizational structure is improved. So no, this isn't the end of new zones in ESO. They are gradually diminishing until it goes into the obscurity of maintenance mode. They just have a new way of communicating. Instead of these broad, sweeping, kind of vague hypes they put out months and months before, they're focusing more on the here and now, what they're doing for players in the immediate term, and then not revealing all their cards right away. They probably want to wait till they have a really good showcase of Winterhold before they reveal it. And they're doing a lot between then and now. So it was already untrue that there's no new zone coming because of the night market zone, but I totally understand the argument that that's not really a zone because it's only there partially and it's kind of different. But if they really are spanning that gap between Western Skyrim and Eastmarch, if they're really putting a new zone on the map this year, that will fully disprove the idea that they can't do new zones anymore, that the studio is winding down, that they've run out of money, that Microsoft is cutting them off. And it will really add credence to the position I have. And again, as objectively as possible. I do have some stake in this, but it's not like Zoss is paying me. I'm not a shill. But my position is that this is really the renaissance, the golden era of ESO that we're coming into. Not only are they fixing the base game, but they are adding new, like actually real new content. Again, all for free. The game is just going to get wildly better in 2026, setting itself up for a string of incredible years to come up until at least 2030. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I guess I'm taking a leaf from Zoss's book in that way. But I'm starting to really see the vision for this 30-year plan for ESO. If they keep things going like this, if they keep coming out with new, different types of zones and events and tying it all in within this briefer seasonal package, I can really see the game getting back on its feet, striding confidently into the future, providing excellent, memorable, amazing experiences for years to come. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think I'm right about Winterhold coming? Are you stoked for that if it is coming? What would you like to see in Winterhold now that we're back in the second era? Are you excited to see the College of Winterhold? Do you think this is all just a pipe dream? Let me know in the comments. And as always, let's finish up with a prayer to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Lord, again, I'm just struck with my gratitude for ESO. Thank you for bringing me back to this game, having me focus on it. In so many ways, Lord, I feel like you've guided me into places that other people might have dismissed. Help me see the diamonds in the rough. I ask that you bless this year in ESO. I ask that you do bring us Winterhold this year. I ask that you prove all the haters wrong and give ESO the best year ever, that it boosts my channel, that it brings me notoriety and prosperity, and above all, that I'm able to give back to my community who has lifted me to this point. Lord, please do bless my community. Bless all of my members and subscribers and viewers, everyone who likes and shares and hypes the video. Lord, bless them with their experiences in ESO. Bless the team at Zoss, and do bless me as I continue to cover the game this year. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Again, everybody, comment with your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong. I want to hear your opinion. Please do join the Spopes Army as a member. Even the $1 a month option does help support me. There are higher options you can go up to support me even more and get more perks. If you want to support me directly, leave me a super thanks in the comments. And also, please don't forget to like, hype, and subscribe. Also, I am starting to aggressively seek out sponsorships. If you guys have any ideas about brands I should talk to or things you'd like to see me sponsor in my videos or on my streams, do let me know in the comments as well. And before I go, one last reminder to please subscribe if you haven't. And when you do subscribe, turn on notifications because I'll be back soon with new content.